Hi, I'm Dr. Carlos McCormick, and this is Collaborative Conversations with Carlos, a podcast where we discuss various aspects of Wake Technical Community College and the community college movement. If you want to find out more about the magnificent work Wake Tech is engaged in, and also learn about the many facets of the community college movement, keep listening as we will have a diverse collection of guests from students to community college presidents. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Collaborative Conversations with Carlos. And joining us today is the athletic director at Wake Technical Community College, Mr. Brian Anweiler. Brian, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh man, it's an honor and a privilege, and I'm glad that you're joining us. I know there's some big things going on in the athletic department, so we'll start things off a little slowly, and let's talk a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in athletics.
Well, that's a really unique story. I'm happy to share. I am a community college person. I attended community college and spent my entire professional career at a community college. I always tell people that I worked harder for my associate's degree than my other two college degrees I have, and I think that's important to note. Once you get into your bachelor's and master's, it's hopefully something that you want to do. But the community college is the tough part because you're doing the things that the prerequisites, the early courses, and it's you're knocking that stuff out before you get to the fun stuff of what your career will hopefully be. I started in athletics. Believe it or not, I was working in a grocery store, and the men's basketball coach at my local community college, Tallahassee Community College, used to come in the grocery store and knew that I was actually interested in video and television, and he needed someone to film his games. And that is literally, so while I was in high school, I got recruited by the basketball coach, which says a lot for short, unathletic person. But that is literally how I got started, being the videographer for the men's basketball team at my local community college. And I just really enjoyed it and have never left, to be honest with you. I've left different schools, and every 10 years I try to bebop around. But no, that I think it's really neat. And so that's just athletics isn't just about the student athletes. It's about a whole bunch of stuff that students can get involved with.
Wow, we have something in common. I actually worked in a grocery store as well growing up. So great minds do think alike. And thanks a lot for sharing that story. And you kind of jump to the next question a little bit. You mentioned the word student athlete, and you talked about community college. Talk a little bit about your focus and why the word student is important in student athlete. And maybe if you can share with us, are there any initiatives in place at the college to support our student athletes?
So as a community college person, our student athletes and students are here for lots of reasons. And some of them, and I think most of them are here because they want to start here and then transfer and continue on to four-year school playing and competing. So that said, but we also may have a student that's interested in going into nursing or going into some of the other vocational and his career-ready programs. So we kind of have to be available for all types of students and their interest. As a community college, I'm not going to say that we don't have all the resources of, say, a large NCAA program, but our students have the same access to all resources, whether it's the ILC or wellness services. So we can definitely help our students get connected and serve as a resource to get those connections made.
And thanks for sharing that. And talk a little bit about the student athlete. What types of student athletes are actually eligible to participate here at Wake Tech?
So to be a student athlete at the NJCAA, which is the National Junior College Athletic Association, and that's actually the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country. There's over 500 member schools, well over 40 states compete in it, and it was only behind the NCAA. So in order to be an NJCAA student athlete, first year, you have to have a high school diploma or your GED. And that's step one. So you don't need to worry about the ACT, SAT, and some of that stuff, or be a qualifier, as they say, which makes you meet certain academic benchmarks. So that's why some of the students come here with the goal of transferring to a four-year school, because they're able to come here, get their academics in order, and then transfer to the four-year school after meeting certain benchmarks with us. You also have to be a full-time student, pardon me, in order to play. So you have to be full-time while your sport is in season. And again, you have to meet certain academic benchmarks from your first year to second year. So you're able to transition to a sophomore year and hopefully on to the 4-year if that's your goal. And so you try to maintain a 2.0 along the way.
So take, for example, if I'm a parent and I have a student considering weight tech, as well as someone considering playing athletics, kind of sell us on weight tech and what's your vision and why should, say, my child think about being a student athlete at a Wake Technical Community College?
Well, I mean, we're a real option for students athletes to come, because we're affordable, we have a lot of resources, and we have a tradition of sending students on to the next level. Just an example, this year alone, despite COVID and having a shortened season, we had 11 baseball players move on to four-year schools. We've had several volleyball players, several basketball players all move on to four-year schools to continue their academic and athletic career. Again, I know some students are always going to look for that residential experience at a liberal arts, private liberal arts, public liberal arts school, but many scholarships aren't, only the full scholarships are at the NCAA Division I level for the most part. After that, it's partials and financial aid. So you can come to a Wake Tech first 2 years, and then if you still want to go on that route and go to the that liberal arts school, then you're going to be able to transfer there and save a whole lot of money, because some of those schools can be $25,000, $30,000 a year, and Wake Tech is much, much, much less than that. So you're able to get the same schools that maybe were recruiting you then would still be recruiting you now just as a junior.
Thanks for sharing, and that's definitely exciting for those athletes. And a couple of things that I like to follow up on. Once an individual transfers, and I know each situation could be unique, but how much eligibility would they have left if they went to a UNC or North Carolina Central University?
So NJCAA, which Wake Tech is a part of, you're allowed to use your first 2 of 4 years of eligibility. So you have to play your first 2 years at a community college and then the 2 years at the next level. You can't play 2 years at a NCAA school and then want to say, I want to go to Wake Tech for 2 years. It's only the other way it works. It doesn't go both ways. So your first 2 years of intercollegiate participation are all that you have. So you can play 1 year to 4 year and 1 year at Wake Tech, but that's kind of how it would work, because your second year would be your final year of Wake at a community college.
And the other thing that I wanted to piggyback on, you talked about the shortened season. Talk a little bit about how you as the athletic director are using this kind of pause in athletics during this time period.
Well, spending a lot of time thinking about what the future is going to look like, whether it's later on this year or down the road. So we're having a lot of cool stuff happening. We are in the process of updating our brand, our logos, getting a new website. We've just launched a esports intramural program that we can talk about, I'm sure. And in addition, we are launching an esports varsity team. So those are all the things that we're doing now, in addition to trying to support our current student athletes during this very difficult time, and coaches.
Wow, that's exciting. And yes, that was definitely one of my questions. Kind of paint the picture and walk us through this exciting thing called esports.
Well, it is the latest thing going on in college athletics. So esports is an umbrella term, much like track and field is. You've got every game within esports, whether it's a game called Rocket League or League of Legends or Overwatch or Madden or NBA 2K. Those are all each a unique sport. Just like under track and field, you've got the shot put is different than the 50-meter dash or 50-yard dash or the half marathon or cross country. So, it's under an umbrella of track and field, but it's under the esports umbrella. So you can have many games and sports going on with underneath the umbrella of esports. So, and all the games require communication, skill, practice. So teamwork, not much different than and then we'll say the traditional sports.
So is this something that will still fall under the conference, or is this something that, hey, we may be partnering or having competitions across the street with our sister institution, North Carolina State, or will it kind of still strictly be within the NGCAA?
All of the above. So the National Junior College Athletic Association has formed another organization called NJCAA for National Junior College Athletic Association Esports. So we'll be a part of that group, but then we can also compete in other leagues as well, which we would be able to play against a four-year school. So that's why it's really fun, it's exciting, and something students I think will really enjoy.
Oh, most definitely. Let's talk a little bit about recruiting. Is that something that Wake Tech does actively recruit athletes from not only Wake County but other areas of North Carolina and the United States? And also, is there something called walk-ons, and is that an opportunity here for students at Wake Tech?
Yes, yes, and yes. So we do recruit. In fact, it's one of our coaches spend a lot of time working hard to identify prospective students to come to Wake Tech and compete on our teams. We do have a little bit of scholarship money to spread around, but we, of course, as a two-year college, will always have an opportunity for our student athletes to walk on or try out for a team. It is hard. A lot of people don't understand. They don't know what community college sports is, particularly in larger cities like Raleigh, because we don't get a lot of attention in the media as much as I think we should. But it's understandable when you've got a town like this and so many large universities and large alumni bases that's where the attention goes. But most definitely we recruit. We do. Students can try out to make a team. Usually there's not too many spots, but you never know what you're going to find here within our student body that are skilled that may not even have known that we had college athletics here. So, I mean, we've had students on our teams this year. We had a volleyball player from Hawaii. We have folks from all over North Carolina in this mid-Atlantic, southern states area. So we definitely have a broad net that we can reach out with.
For students that may not be able to walk on or obtain a scholarship, but are still interested in athletics, you hear the term intramurals. Is that something that Wake Tech is exploring, and would the athletic department be engaged in that process?
That is something that we are working on. We are starting it, like I mentioned earlier, this year through the esports. Since it's virtual, it can be done at the student's home where they already are, and chances are they already have all the equipment, so they can participate and compete against other Wake Tech students. Long term would be a chance for on-campus activities once our COVID mediation keeping students mostly off campus is done. It's going to take some more resources down the road from the college, but it is on the strategic or master plan to do that. I don't know exactly when, but that is something that's on my to-do list to try to implement. I've already started a Twitter account called Wake Tech Rec. So again, that's at Wake Tech Rec. We're also on Extra now. You can find our portal on the Wake Tech Extra site. We have a page there called Wake Tech Recreation, and again, that's where they can find more information on the virtual intramural activities we have going on right now.
Talk a little bit about the men and women that are leading these programs. Talk a little bit about your coaches and how can someone, if they're interested, if there are any openings, how can they get involved and possibly be a coach here at Wake Tech?
To be a coach or a student?
To be a coach of one of the athletics.
So first thing you'd want to do is reach out to the head coach of one of the sports you're interested in. We have a very we don't have many opportunities. I will put that out there, but there are opportunities for that, and then they would, if the coach is interested, then we'll have them apply through the typical Wake Tech employment process, which we do have a standalone assistant coach application on the Wake Tech employment page. And then from there, they would go through the background checks, and we would then do a contract depending on the resources that we have.
Yeah, and speaking of students, are there opportunities for students possibly to serve as managers or help out in any other capacities at Wake Tech?
Absolutely. I'm like I share with my story and how I got involved. We are looking long term for students to be the videographers for the teams, to possibly be a manager, maybe a student coach, someone that may be interested in video production, maybe or broadcasting. I mean, those are all long-term things that we would like to do down the road, and it's a great chance for students to get hands-on experience early on. And again, you never know where that path may lead you. And again, I think I'm a perfect example of how that path can work.
Most definitely. And we talked about our neighbors from four-year universities. I know in the past, the men's program has been phenomenal as it relates to basketball. And in the past, they've played UNC's JV team. Is that something that's going to continue? And possibly could we ever see the Tar Heels playing at one of Wake Tech's facilities?
I would say there's probably a slim chance of the UNC JV team coming over to Wake Tech. I think they only play one road game every year, and that's a long-standing agreement. But it's a treat for our student athletes to get to play inside the Dean Dome. So as an administrator, it's great because it's like a home game. They literally get in a van or a bus and go about 25 miles to our west, and they come right home. So it was my first time. I'm new here, so I did get to watch that game this year, and that was my first time going into the Dean Dome to see that. So for lots of reasons, it won't probably ever have a game here at Wake, but it is a treat to go over there for a game and play on that court for our student athletes. And I hope that will continue for a while. Again, 2021, I'm not sure, but I would expect it to be back the following year.
Wow, that's very exciting and news. And Brian, I'd like to definitely thank you for this opportunity. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with the audience?
I just hope that students will take the time to support our programs or like student activities, whether it's athletics or student government or intramurals or clubs and organizations. There's so many people that are here to help and help the students get connected to our college and Wake Tech and make them get that Wake Tech Eagle spirit. Just because you may not live on campus doesn't mean you can't have a robust college experience. And we're working really hard, even this year, while we're virtual, to have some opportunities for students to stay engaged while they're here.
And you've alluded to it a little bit earlier, but it sounds like the athletic department is deeply engaged in social media. How can individuals from the community or Wake Tech find out more about Wake Tech athletics?
So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all at Wake Tech Sports. Our website is www.waketechsports.com, and you can even find us through the Wake Tech Extra student engagement portal. So we're out there. We're not hard to find. But again, just don't be bashful.
Brian, thank you again for joining us. And for our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And be on the lookout for our next collaborative conversation. Thanks for listening to Collaborative Conversations with Carlos. If you like the show and you want to know more, be sure to visit us at waketech.edu. See you next time.